Welcome back to Real Talk. It's been a few months since we've last been in this situation. What was the last movie we did, guys? Do you remember? We did Twilight.
Fucking banger.
Definitely a banger.
I hardly know her.
God damn it. Today, we have a good one coming at you guys. We're doing Silence of the Lambs.
Bit of a U-turn from Twilight to Silence of the Lambs.
We were originally going to do Tropic Thunder, and then we decided Silence of the Lambs.
But there was nothing to talk about.
It would be very difficult to talk for a whole hour about Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface playing Asian.
That's like we were all.
It was literally what we had.
We were all supposed to come up with like talking points, and that like. All of us came up with one talking point.
Like we all sat there and we watched the whole movie and like spent probably weeks thinking about this. You know, it's the only thing that mattered, right? You know, no rotations or anything like that. We all spent weeks thinking about what we could say for Tropic Thunder, and we got to Robert Downey Jr. playing blackface is interesting. That's what we had. I wrote that down.
Maybe it'll be a bonus episode for our subscriber or our donors.
Yeah. Go to our Patreon account. So, yeah, as per our usual tradition, we're going to start off with screenplay ideas. We got our screenplay master, Trevor, here, who's going to tell us all about his...
Trevor, kick it.
Yeah.
All right. So, this movie is titled Rockin' Rollen.
Oh, God.
This movie starts in...
Wait, how do you spell Rolland? R-O-W-L-A-N-D?
I was thinking no W.
Or Rollen. Rockin' Rollen, actually.
Oh, Rockin'
Yeah,
Rollen.
R-O-L-L-E-N.
Gotcha.
Rockin' Rollen.
Okay.
This movie starts in February of 1944.
Oh,
yeah.
A few months for a good time.
Yeah. And you get
Yeah, go on.
You won't tell us the points.
No. So you get the intro title card or whatever. It's Rollen Frederick Stewart, born February 23rd, 1944.
Put some thought into this.
And then fades out, and you get like a quick sort of montage or like a reel of Rollen growing up. So you see him; he has a troubled childhood, right? When he's a kid, his dad dies of alcoholic cirrhosis. You know, he's got a dysfunctional family unit. And then when he's 15, you see his mother dies in a house fire, and so he doesn't have like strong role models in his life. It's kind of chaotic. You know, doesn't have a lot of solid emotional growth.
Yeah, so far pretty dark, dude.
It's pretty dark. You see him go through his first marriage, and it just goes down the fucking tubes.
When does he start rocking?
You'll know.
And then when does he start rolling? Is my question.
He started rolling on February 23rd, 1940. So his marriage goes to shit, and then this is when the movie sort of picks up. So that's all the intro, and then Paramount Pictures presents. He's driving down the road. He's moving out.
Wait, so we got like 2 minutes of like scene where his mom burns to death and his dad drank too much,
shitty marriage.
and he has like a whole bad marriage, and then it's like Paramount presents, and he's driving down the PCH or some shit.
Yeah, no. So it's it'll be like Morgan Freeman they're doing like overdub, and it like narrates the beginning of his life. Like Rollen was born in 1944. He had a troubled childhood, and then you just get like
speak like that for the rest of the
So then, what year is it now? That after
it's probably like the 60s, late 60s.
All right.
And so you get that whole background. And it's all like it's pieced together with like home video footage and stuff of his troubled past, and then like pictures from like his wedding day, and then like he gets divorced or whatever, and then he's
in the opening credits, right? Like pictures are like I see it.
And then he's driving down the road.
The PCH. I want it to be the PCH in a Corvette.
Paramount Pictures present fucking Harvey Weinstein film.
Starring Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K.
Guest starring Aziz Ansari.
So as he drives down the road, he moves out to the mountains in California, and he starts a little cannabis farm. And so he's just out there chilling, growing cannabis. He's trying to grow the world's longest mustache. And so he's out there. He's growing out his facial hair.
Probably would need to be pretty high if that's your goal.
Yeah. So he's getting high all the time. He's watching a lot of TV.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
So are we describing Shima?
This is rock and rolling. This is Shima Shadowing story. So he's getting high all the time. He's watching TV, and he realizes, like, man, my life is going nowhere. You know, I need to do something big. I need to do something I'm passionate about. And what do I know? I know television. I'm gonna be famous. So he moves out to Hollywood.
So he was in the PCH.
Yes. So he goes out to Hollywood, rents a little studio apartment, and then you get him trying to pull acting gigs, and it's the classic actor grind out in LA.
Shitty small apartment.
Yeah, and he's just trying, he's going to all these auditions, and it's just not cutting it.
Meets James Franco with long black hair.
Exactly.
I was gonna say this is exactly how Chris Pratt started out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But
this is not how Chris Pratt is going to end up.
I was thinking The Room, but anyways.
Yeah. So he's not catching traction in his acting career. So he starts thinking, and he goes, I know what I'm going to do. He goes out to the dollar store, gets himself a big rainbow wig, and gets himself a ticket to the 1979 NBA All-Star Game. And he's sitting there in the stands of the All-Star Game. And
go see Wilt Chamberlain or some shit? What are you talking about?
Strap yourself in. Because this is going to blow your mind. So
strap in or strap on?
Both. So he's in the stands of the game. He's getting on a dance, and the big jumbotron, and they get shots of people dancing and stuff. So he's on there. He's going crazy in the rainbow wig, and he's got his long mustache. And so people are like, "This guy's awesome! I like this guy. He knows how to have a good time." Gets caught on the national broadcast of the game, and people are like, "Oh yeah, what a cool dude." And then he's like, "You know what? This is my break." So he goes to the PGA Tour, and you see him in the background wearing his rainbow wig and rocking out and just doing his little dance. And the cameraman catches him, And he goes to more and more games. He goes to NFL games and Major League Baseball games and hockey games. And every time he's there in the background, and he starts getting clever. He starts figuring out, what angles each cameraman is going to be at, and what time in the broadcast they're going to be panning to the crowd. And so he gets ready. He's there. And he's dancing. Pretty soon, he's almost a household name. Everybody knows Rainbow Man with his big ass rainbow wig. He starts making news stories. They're talking, "Oh, Rainbow Man strikes again at the Cubs playoff game. And he's here and he's there
in the 1970s."
Yeah,
Cubs were never in the playoffs.
Whatever. He's all over the place. He's getting more and more famous, and that's it.
That's Trevor having a seizure.
It was an absent seizure. He's getting more and more famous. Pretty soon, everybody knows who he is. They call him Rainbow Man. Some people call him Rockin' Rollen because his name's and he's in the background of everything. But then after a big game, another NBA All-Star game, he goes back to his hotel room and
kills himself.
He just he thinks about it. He goes back to his room and he looks down, pulls out his loaded gun, and he goes, "Oh fuck! I thought this was what I wanted. I thought I wanted to be famous.
What was the negativity of him being famous though?
Because his life's in. He just goes up there and he wears his rainbow wig and he dances around and everybody goes, ha 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 ha.
They're laughing at him, not with him.
They're not laughing at him and they're not laughing with him. And it's to what avail, You dance around, people say ha ha, doesn't get you anywhere. You got a question?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Wait. Finish the story, and then we'll do questions.
All right. So he's there. He's starting to cry, and he's like, God, my marriage went to shit. Everybody laughs at me, and they think it's fun. But then I come home, and I'm all alone. I haven't actually accomplished anything in the world. And then he looks over at his little motel room TV, and on there is a televangelist talking about how you need to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And right then and there, Rollen falls down to his knees and he says, Jesus, I accept you. You will be my Savior, and I will do your will from now on. Rollen goes out. He gets himself a big John 3:16 T-shirt, and he keeps going to the football games and the baseball games, and he's standing there, and the camera's still on him, but this time he's got the big John 3:16 on his shirt, and he's rocking out, dancing, and then interviewers come up to him and they're like, Rollen, what's up? And he said, everybody, man, woman, and child in this country needs to accept Jesus Christ into their hearts. We need to get back to what's really important. And he starts getting these big cardboard signs that say, repent and Jesus saves. He starts holding them up in the game. And of course, every time the camera's on him. But the broadcasters are kind of sick of this shit. They're tired of him working his way in. So they're not focusing on him anymore. They're trying to keep him out of their shots. But he's always one step ahead. He gets the premium seats, behind the field goal, and when it's field goal time, baby, he's out there. He's got the sign out there, and everyone goes, Rainbow Man, Rainbow Man. And he's out there fucking getting the attention. Except now he's getting the attention with a purpose. He's left his studio in Hollywood. He's living out of his car. He's living off of church donations, that you put in the plate when they pass it around. He makes it to the Super Bowl, and he's on there on TV.
How does he pay for all these?
That was my first question. How the fuck is he affording all of these games?
Church donations.
No, but what about before then? When he tried to make it big, but go to the All-Star game, that probably. Yes, he was slinging.
Is he still selling weed now that he's
No, not anymore. Not anymore. We got it saved up because he was the head of the grow operation. He goes to Princess Diana's wedding, and he's in the background with his rainbow wig rocking out. He's in a Budweiser commercial. The SNL does a skit about him, and Christopher Walken is there pretending to be Rainbow Man with a big rainbow wig, right? He's living he's playing fast and loose, He goes through another failed marriage.
Did Rainbow Man look like a cachectic zombie? Because that's what Christopher Walken looks. He goes through a third wife. That doesn't work out because he's got kind of an erratic personality.
Oh, shocking.
But then, not all is well under that rainbow wig and that little head of his. He starts going a little nuts, He's on his fourth wife, and she's helping him, holding up signs at the hockey games. She holds up the John 3:16 sign, but she does it in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so, he smacks her around a little bit. And she goes, you know what, Rollen, that's it. I'm leaving. That's 4 marriages down the drain. They can't handle his volatile personality. He starts getting crazier and crazier. He starts calling in bomb threats to places, saying, listen, if I don't get my screen time, if Rainbow Man isn't on that television preaching the good news, your stadium, I'm gonna put a fucking bomb in your stadium. And he starts doing it, but it's just little stink bombs. He just starts throwing stink bombs in places, going to hockey games, and he'll just let these stink bombs.
I have another question.
Everybody has to evacuate the stands. Yeah.
Do the authorities not think like the bomb threat might have been called by the guy that should get screen time?
That's circumstantial.
I see.
I see. And then he's just going full on nuts, and so he's back at his another hotel room in LA, and at this point he's like basically a threat to society. He's a public enemy. He's had such a meteoric rise of just a good guy having a good time at a baseball game to evangelist trying to save people's souls and bring them to Christ. And now he's gone off his rocker, He's going crazy. And in the climax of the film, in the peak of his instability, there's a maid walking by his motel room, And he grabs her, throws his arm around her neck, and drags her into his hotel room. And then he calls up the police and he says, "Hey, I'm keeping this woman hostage until the city of Los Angeles provides me a 3-hour press conference in which I can tell people the good news of Jesus Christ, and they can repent for their sins, and I can save them from an eternity in hell." And there's news copters flying over. They call out the SWAT team. SWAT team kicks down the door, and they throw in the fucking tear gas, and they got rubber bullets, and they're shooting him, and they tase him, and they drag him away, and he's arrested. Rainbow Man is on trial. They offer him a plea deal.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what is happening? I feel like there's a payoff, or you're fucking with us.
No, this is the end. That is the payoff. He goes off fucking wrong, becomes a terrorist.
There's no payoff.
I thought this was gonna have some sort of M. Night Shyamalan ending.
How is that not an M. Night Shyamalan ending?
It's exactly the progression.
I thought you were gonna say that this is like the life of a real person, and then you get your mind blown or something.
This is the life of a real person.
Plot twist. Turns out it was depression.
Depression. Yeah, no, this is the life of a real person. Rollen Stewart.
What?
Yeah.
It's a real story?
Your screenplay idea is reading the Wikipedia page of this dude named Rollen Stewart?
Stop, this is a real person?
This is a real person.
I was gonna say, I'm like, how high did you have to be to read?
How high was he when he came up with the story of his own life?
That's actually a great... So did someone ever adapt this into like a movie?
A long time ago, someone made a documentary of it, but this wouldn't be a documentary. This would be a drama.
All of that was totally real. Okay, that's kind of a payoff.
What actor would be good enough to play Rollen Stewart? I'm thinking Joaquin Phoenix would be good.
Just because he's the Joker
now.
Yeah. That's. I was thinking the Joker too.
Joaquin that fits his kind of his old shtick.
He's an amazing actor. He could probably do anything if he wanted to.
Yeah. He refuses to take a plea deal.
Charlie Day.
No, Charlie Day's too.
I don't know.
Innocent.
I could maybe see it.
Charlie Day I can't picture him doing like drama without me just laughing at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Potentially, I don't know. I could maybe see it. This feels like a really zany role. Like.
I mean, it's zany, but there needs to be a level of tortured soul at the depth of the character, which I don't think Charlie Day can.
I see Joaquin Phoenix because of the whole like Joker funny thing, but then behind it's like tortured fucking soul. I like it.
I feel like that's a good casting.
Yeah.
I should be a casting director.
You should. Yeah, he instead of taking a plea deal, he demands a public trial. And
so this isn't a screenplay. You just read a biography on this guy.
Yeah,
that was the.
I adapted it for.
I'm proud I called this.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Damn.
It's rock and roll.
That's a real person.
That's a real fucking person.
It's quite a life.
Well, on the theme of psychopaths.
Yeah, let's turning the page to the very, very lighthearted film we're discussing today.
Silence of the Lambs.
The Silence of the Lambs. So, let's kick it off with rapid reviews. Give it a rating, 1 to 10.
This movie, this is one of my favorites of all time.
It's a hot take.
My top. I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think it's a great movie.
Generally considered.
Yeah, that would
generally
be
considered.
Yes, that would be the sarcasm. Everyone thinks it's an amazing movie.
So I mean, 10 out of 10. Honestly, I can't. There's nothing. When I rate a movie a 10 out of 10, to me that means that I've watched this movie and I can't think of a single thing that I would have changed about it, or that I thought question was unanswered, or it was lacking something. Which I didn't think this movie did in any way, shape, or form. Captivated me the whole way through. And I thought acting was incredible, cinematography was incredible, and storyline was impeccable. So, 10 out of 10.
She said that whole thing with her pinky raised. It was the most arrogant thing I've ever seen.
SpongeBob taught me well.
No doubt.
Trevor.
10 out of 10, dude. It's one of my favorite movies. I think it deserves the hype that it gets. I think it's, as far as horror movie goes, or like suspense movies.
Yeah, shrug, thriller, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the like quintessential. It's like it's the gold standard, you know. Mm-hmm. It's like what if you're gonna make a thriller, fugitive horror movie, like you're trying to get to Silence of the Lambs level. Like that's your ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's tough for me to think of a better movie than this. I don't think there's one movie. I mean, it's all subjective, right? I mean, but we are in the business of ranking movies or rating movies. So I mean, the next question I was going to ask you too is this the best movie of all time? Because I don't think rating it is really reasonable in the case where we're all going to say 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10 movie. It's a perfect movie. The only issue that some people draw with it, which actually is a big discrepancy between the books and it, is some in the LGBT community find the representation to be a little odd.
I'm actually going to talk about that.
Well, okay, go ahead.
So, interesting story. And also interesting because we talked about The Matrix not too long ago, but the Wachowskis, both of which used to be the Wachowski brothers, they're now the Wachowski sisters, Lana and Lily. So my best friend, her mom is their massage therapist, and so she gets invited to all their screening events, and like she's like super.
Where's our invites?
Bitch, I can't invite people if they don't want to invite me.
Play the card.
So anyway. They were having a premiere for the second season of Sense8, and I was invited along with my friend, and they had like a little Q&A at the end of the end of the screening, and one of the members of the audience asked Lana Wachowski, "What's like a movie that like inspired you to make movies? You know, what inspired you to do what you do now?" And she said, "I'll never forget. In 1991, I went and saw Silence of the Lambs in the theaters for the first time, and I came out of it crying, just absolutely devastated, because this movie, this is obviously way before her transition, but she's like, this is how I was feeling on the inside, and this movie was telling me that I'm a sick person for feeling this way." And so she's like, after I saw that, I wanted to change representation of people like me in movies, and that's what I've been trying to do my whole life.
It's interesting that it impacted them so profoundly. It's like to shed a little light on this. They did this by accident. The director Jonathan Demme, he actually when he found out that this was such a huge error, it was actually an error of omission. And the biggest difference between the book that was written by Thomas Harris and the movie was that in the book, Thomas Harris really explicitly, through like multiple lines from Hannibal Lecter and like a few other lines, really lays out that this dude, Buffalo Bill, is not transgender. Yeah. He actually makes a very concerted effort to lay that on the table. He even says he thinks he's transgender, but he's not. Well, he wants to be his mother, and it's all twisted and he's sick.
It's hard to draw that line though, because like there's that whole motif of the butterflies, right? And like the whole exact symbol of the butterfly was transformation. Transitioning.
Yeah, it's definitely harder in movies, and I think that maybe I don't know what happened during the filmmaking when Jonathan Demme decided to like ignore that.
Well, I don't think he ignored it, because they do in the movie they do explicitly say Buffalo Bill is not transgender, or they say he's like not a transsexual. I think.
Oh, they bring in that line.
He like explicitly says that. Like,
I thought that wasn't in the movie.
Like he's just like trying to change who he is because he has all these like.
Billy is not a real transsexual, but he thinks he is. He tries to be. He's tried to be a lot of things, I expect.
Issues, yeah.
Well, I know that the director Jonathan Demme had such an issue with this, such like a self-blaming feeling as a result of this, that he literally the next movie he made was Philadelphia, which is a very pro-LGBT community movie, just because he was not just because, but in a large part influenced by him feeling so shameful towards his representation of the trans community. So I think there was no malintent, but it did end up sort of giving a poor representation of those people. I think he really just wanted to make a sick serial killer. I think that was the point.
The issue is you can make anything with intent, but your intent doesn't matter once it's already been received a certain way by the public.
Yeah.
Well, so I
think that's true to an extent.
Well, I mean,
context matters, right?
Of course, but majority of people who've seen that movie came out of it thinking this guy was a sick person who wanted to be a woman, and then they attributed that to being, transgender, and that's like the connotation that was put on that group of people. Since that, I'm not saying all of trans oppression is due to Silence of the Lambs, but it certainly didn't help.
Well, I think the other thing is in the context of like Silence of the Lambs by itself isn't I don't think is problematic because it has a character who is not transgender, who is a serial killer. But like if you think about it in the scope of like in 1991, how many movies were there representing transgender people? So it's like it's not like there was this whole sort of catalog of film that you could go to of like positive representation and like becoming your true self and like. And
we also take for granted just we have such a radically different view of trans people today than we did 91.
Even 10 years ago.
Even 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago, honestly. Like, it's just so different now that the mindset then was just so negative as it was when it came to that community. So any sort of thing that added to that just perpetuated what was already there, I think.
I can certainly see why members of that community were upset with this movie.
Yeah,
I would be. That makes a lot of sense when you have no one that really is like you in a movie, and then the one time it's this psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of get that. I at the same time, I'm sure, or I'm next to sure, there was no actual malintent.
But, I mean, silver lining, if you want to think about it, Silver Linings Playbook, had it not been for this movie, we wouldn't have some of the greatest filmmakers to ever.
That's true. We wouldn't have The Matrix.
We wouldn't have The Matrix.
We wouldn't have episode 1 of Real Talk.
True.
You know what I mean?
Thanks, Buffalo
Bill. Okay, so moving on, I did want to ask you guys: is there an argument to be made for this being the best movie of all time?
I think it's hard to compare. When you compare movies, you gotta compare it based on the genre, the type of movie it is. I think it's hard to say.
No, fuck that. We're devolving to First Take. We're devolving to ESPN.
I don't know. You can't say it's the best movie of all time. Like it's also a fallacy to think that like you can only have one best movie of all time. Like, why can't there be multiple best movies of all time? You know what I mean?
Well, for the record, I totally agree with you. I just thought it'd be a fun exercise.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat of like that's such a like huge term to like put on anything, like the greatest movie of all time. Like that just like.
Because there's a lot of time to rate.
Mulan is the greatest movie of all time. But I think you could argue that you could argue that Silence of the Lambs is the greatest movie of all time. If you like had to pick one and someone argued for that one,
really similar movies.
That makes sense.
Well, gender switching, right?
Yeah. Oh shit.
One uses it probably for more positive reasons. Can I just say though, not to detract from Silence of the Lambs, but can we just agree that Shang was definitely gay for a minute in that movie?
I honestly.
Wait, can we agree for a minute that he was, or for a minute in the movie he was gay?
I'm just saying, like, you agree with that, right? Like, he was definitely gay at one point.
What do you mean at one point?
He was gay for her because.
Oh yeah.
He definitely was into her when he thought she was a dude.
Yeah.
And then he was like weirdly disappointed when he found out that she was a girl. I mean, probably because he felt like he's been lied to the whole time, right?
Yeah, I think it was mostly been lied to.
But also,
I think he was relieved because I don't know that in ancient China you can't get you very far.
Shang was a snack though. So I mean, if he was gay, he'd totally be like the top gay of all the gays. Next to
who's the greatest gay of all time? Shima?
Li Shang from Mulan. Anyway, so what was your question?
I don't know. I just feel like in terms of just entertainment, acting, overall like value, awards, obviously, just everything about it, like it just hits the mark on absolutely everything. It doesn't feel quite as dated as some of the other movies that you probably mentioned.
It holds up really well.
For a movie that was made in what, like like the early 90s, I think,
91.
right? Yeah. For a movie that's made back then, holy crap, it looks fine.
And I do, like, somebody once asked me, like, what do you think an example is of a perfect movie? And that's what I came up with, like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Because the only issue you can really take with it is the trans thing. That's not, I think, so much a Silence of the Lambs issue as it is like a human civilization
exactly.
issue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was a product of the time.
Yeah, but like, there's nothing left to be desired in the acting. There's nothing left to be desired in the writing. The music, I feel like the music is underrated because it. Well,
that's like a level of creepiness that.
Yeah. Aside from Q Lazarus, which we will get to in a second, just that creepy like build up between scenes is like very good, and it's like not cheesy. It's just like it's right there, and the music is leading you somewhere. It's not just accompanying what the scene is supposed to do. It's like you're watching these events unfold, and then you hear the music, and you're like, "Oh shit, where are we going with this?" Yeah.
I think what's great about the Q Lazarus scene is just like you have this really kind of like almost weirdly depressing, but at the same time hopeful song, and then it's like juxtaposed with him just like trying to figure himself out, you know, like in the mirror. And then you just hear her talking about goodbye horses in the background, and then just him going like, "Would you fuck me? I would fuck me."
Oh, so we didn't do impressions.
We didn't do
forgot
impressions.
to do.
Well, that's my but yeah.
Yeah, I would like to hear your other impressions.
Trevor really likes my Clarice Starling impression.
Shoot.
I'm Detective Clarice Starling.
That's pretty good. Damn.
She's on top of that.
Yeah, damn, that was really good.
You guys got a little southern twang to it, yeah.
Starling.
Clarice Starling.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, go do something.
I ate his liver with his fava beans and a nice Chianti.
That was gross.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
I'm just kidding. Also, the girl at the end, the girl he captures, I forget her name, but the one that's puts down below. She was just being a huge bitch to her at the end of the movie, which like I don't blame her. When someone left you down a well and you think you're gonna die, and then the fucking one person that's there.
I'll be right back, okay? I really care, and I know you've been down there for days, but I'll be right back. Just got some shit I gotta do. Gotta write a few notes. I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed.
So fun fact, the Buffalo Bill character was based on all of his
Buffalo Bills, the football team.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
New York.
No, he's based on a bunch of different serial killers. So they
He lose 4 Super Bowls too.
They took qualities of like a lot of famous serial killers like John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, and they kind of mixed it all up and made this psychopath kind of guy. So like the scene where, I mean, the whole cannibalism thing.
Which one of them wore
Jeffrey
women's
Dahmer.
skin as clothes?
I don't know if anyone did that, but there was the scene, if you remember, when he uses, he tricks the girl to get into the car by saying, "You need to help me."
That's why I never help anyone.
That's what Ted Bundy did. That's how he would get girls. Like that's how he would take them. So that was basically, and then obviously, like I said, cannibalism was the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing. And then, the skinning though.
Well, that's Buffalo Bill actually, so that's not. Well, I don't know if he does. Well, no, he did. He took the face off.
Who?
Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, that could just be a Hannibal Lecter thing, but he's not a real serial killer.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of freaky that this fictional character, his actions were nonfiction.
Well, what's really fucked up is like those people that did those things. I mean, you just proved it. We know all of their names. So if you're like a fucked up person and you really want to be known, You could just do some really messed up shit.
And that's that shit's kind of already happening.
Rockin' Rollen, case in point.
Yeah, that's a household name right there.
It is now.
That's why we knew it.
Now that it's on Real Talk.
That's a good point. I mean,
unfortunately, like, that's a lot of those, like, white supremacist mass shooter guys. That's
I still know Dylan Roof's name. I wish I didn't.
Exactly.
Listen, the other thing
that just happened
is the more media coverage that a shooter gets, like, there's a direct correlation with that and how likely it is that there will be mass shootings right after. So if there's a shooting and they, like, cover the killer and they show his face everywhere and, like, his name and, like, oh, this is his whole life story, then they're, like, usually copycats right after. But
you can't not cover it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the
you can cover it and say there was a shooting. We're not going to name the killer or show his face.
Yeah, but no one's gonna be chill with that.
Well, there are news outlets that do that though. The responsible news outlets will do that, and then they might say, like, oh, these were his motives, and then they'll focus on, like, the victims.
But you can't control that anymore.
You can't control it, but it's
there's gonna be someone who saw it happen, post about it on their Facebook, and then it spreads like wildfire. News outlets don't have control of news anymore.
Heavy.
I'm just being real, man.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can track the information down, but, like, if it's not widely publicized, like, people aren't going to go track that information down. Most people are just going to watch CNN or NBC or whatever.
I got the documents right here.
And then if they see
Alex
that on
Jones,
there, then feeds into that killer's fame, and if they don't, then it doesn't.
Also, unfortunate aspect of our society, like, it bleeds, it leads. Like, people...
Oh, Nightcrawler. We're going to
Nightcrawler, dude. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Fucking Nightcrawler.
That's next, dude. Nightcrawler.
That's a great movie. But, no, that's exactly... That's so... It's true. Like, people don't care about the news unless it's something fucking dramatic, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's the other thing, like, people don't think about a lot. For, like, people that were close to, like, tragedies, like, if your, like, daughter or something was murdered by a serial killer, and then you have all these, like, reporters and, like, news outlets and shit, like, pestering you, and it's like you don't get...
Yeah, that might be more fucked up than the actual thing. It's like you have to live the rest of your life just being, like, known as one of the related people to the victims. That's all people ever know you as.
Yeah. So, food for thought.
It's interesting. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood this weekend. I was telling Trevor about it, but it was based around the Manson murders. And even though they only showed Manson, like, once in the fucking movie, it was stupid. But the whole idea of it was the Manson murders. If the Manson murders never happened because it was the killers of the cult, whatever the fuck they were stopped by these, like, two washed up actors, being Leo and Brad Pitt in the movie. And so Sharon Tate never dies. So it's kind of this, like, alternate reality kind of thing. And I was reading this article today when we were talking about people's relatives. They were, like, known for just being the victim's family. She said that when she saw Margot Robbie, it was Sharon Tate's sister, she saw Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, she, like, cried because she was like, oh my god, it was like seeing my sister the first time in 50 years talking. But I'm like, everyone in the world just knows this bitch is Sharon Tate's sister. Like, nothing else. But it's kind of, it's like tragedy, whether it be through, like, a serial killer or a mass murder or a genocide or whatever the fuck else. That shit passes down like genes in a family pool. Goes down with you. Yeah.
Well, it's like my dad's neighbor, and, like, he's buddies with him too. So it's like my dad's buddy is the nephew of the dude that assassinated Dr. King. Oh, and so it's, like, hella awkward. He's just like, yeah, that's, like, our family heritage is, like, being the worst family besides, like, maybe the Hitlers, like.
So his uncle was the guy who assassinated Dr. Martin.
Wow.
It's just, like, hella awkward.
And how related are you to them?
I'm not related to them at all. It's It's my dad's friend's uncle.
You know, God, this should be like the next screenplay idea, but like a movie about like Osama bin Laden's like really nice brother. Like, he was like a super chill dude.
Helps the poor.
Like an all-around great guy.
Washed the feet of the slaves.
And then and then plot twist, they were twins. So like everyone would just legitimately think.
and America got the wrong one. like SEAL Team 6 like just killed this philanthropist. Like,
that's
he's a really nice man.
That's like what happened with Saddam Hussein. Not that he was like a philanthropist, but that he had like because he had like brothers and like cousins and an uncle.
That's why you do doubles for them all.
Yeah, and so it was like every I remember circa like 2004, like every couple months they would like kill maybe Saddam Hussein. And they're like, oh, we got to figure out if it's him, and then they like do the autopsy, and then they'd be like, okay, it wasn't him. It was his cousin. We'll get him next time.
I'm picturing now this like 90s.
Like
I'm picturing this like 90s sitcom called like The Bin Ladens, and it's like Tia and Tamara, and then they're like building like a bomb, and then they're in my neighborhood and like Roger.
Everyone out here wondering like, you know, who's leading ISIS. He's still out there, man.
Oh man.
You're telling me that there's another dude with a long gray beard and a turban and rags out there? That's crazy.
Oh man, gotta ruin turbans for everyone.
I know, what a dick, right? Like, sounds pretty cool.
That was it. If he committed any crime, worst one.
Ruined a nice headwear in a couple buildings.
Yeah, we're going to hell. Well, I don't know how we got on topic of this.
Anyway, Silence of the Lambs, Rainbow Man, Al Qaeda. What's the